For the most of my life, I believed that Maldives was a perfect example of a tropical island paradise. You know, the luxurious water villas, blue ocean, and hundreds of half-naked pictures posted on Instagram each day. They really make it seem like the best darn holiday spot in the whole world. However, when I first traveled to the Maldives myself about a year ago, it quickly became clear that almost everything that I knew about this country had been a lie. Strictly forbidden. No bikini whatsoever. This country was so different indeed that me and my partner Liisu, we decided to make videos about our experiences, and quickly it became clear that we were far from the only ones who found this information new and useful. Okay, this is eye-opening. I've been to the Maldives for 9 times and I never knew that there are any other options rather than the luxury resorts. Over the last year, literally millions of you have tuned into our channel. Thanks to the high prices, I thought I would never visit the Maldives, but now it's in the top of my bucket list. Hundreds of local Maldivians have thanked us for representing their country in the right way. As a Maldivian, thank you so much for spreading awareness about this whole topic. However, what we couldn't foresee was the fact that over the last year, you have kept sending us questions. Is it allowed to drink alcohol in a Muslim country? Do female tourists need to cover their hair? And can you tell us more about your itinerary and the best places you saw? Each and every day more and more comes in, and after spending ages reading through all of them, I can finally say that I'm pretty sure I know what people actually want to know about traveling Maldives. And this video will be about exactly this. Step by step, we will break down the most important topics, and by the end of it, I can guarantee that not only will those few tips that you learned from this video make planning your own journey easier, but they will also save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of your hard-earned cash. So let's begin. And the first thing about the Maldives that everyone should understand is that there are 2 main ways to travel this country. First of which, the luxury side, is quite known to us all. Because whether we want it or not, I'm quite sure that all of us have seen the over-the-top luxury on social media. You know, the hour-long videos about high-end resorts full of water villas and expensive cocktails, which, as we all know, are of course sponsored and paid for by the same establishments. Yet, as I mentioned, there is also another way to discover this country. A way that is much more authentic and also more supportive towards the local population. You see, ever since the year 2008, when Maldives had their first democratic election and got rid of a dictator of 30 years, this country has been working hard to open its more than 1,000 islands to the rest of the world. So, although many people don't know it yet, but independent travel in the Maldives is becoming more popular and easier with each passing year. And I guess the most frequent question we have received about those traveling styles is actually quite straightforward. Do I really need to choose my holiday between luxury and the local experience? And if so, which one is the best? Dozens of you have asked this, and my answer has always been the same. No. No, you do not have to choose. In fact, I actually believe that if you combine the 2 options, you can get the most out of your holiday and get to experience both sides of the country. And in that case, I would personally start with 2 to 5 days in a resort. You know, just relaxing on a beach with your loved ones. And then, once you've grown tired of being stuck on a small private island, you can simply move on. Move on to one of the local places where one can find unique local culture as well as much better prices for food, tours and accommodation. Coconut is the one thing that always grows here on the Maldives, so all of this coconut?
Yes.
Not really?
Spicy. This one spicy. Coconut no. This one coconut, this one spicy. Okay.
But more about those topics later, because now that you sort of know what style of holiday you can choose from, it is time to move on to the second point, which is entering the country.
And officially our journey to Maldives starts now.
And the three main things you wanted to know more about here are flights, visas, and SIM cards to stay connected. When it comes to visas and SIM cards, it's actually quite simple. The Maldives is one of the only nations in the world that offers 30 days visa on arrival to all of the countries of the world. Also, the SIM cards can be bought from a machine right there in the airport.
You literally swipe your passport and it gives you the SIM card.
Yet when it comes to the flights, then although I'm going to be 30 in a couple of months, I still choose them like I was a broke 19-year-old. I keep telling myself that saving $50 by sleeping on the airport floor is somehow part of the adventure. So yes, if you like to travel in more comfort, then you should definitely not take air travel advice from me. And I know I should probably talk to my therapist about my relationship with money. Which now brings us to the sponsor of today's video. Okay, just kidding. This video isn't actually sponsored, but it would actually go a long way if you did end up pressing that subscribe button down there. But anyways, as we have now managed to enter the Maldives, it is for the first time when the resort goers are separated from independent travelers. And if you are going into a resort, then as soon as you step out of the airport, a transfer will be waiting for you. Most commonly, it is a seaplane that costs many hundreds of dollars per person. Yet if you're traveling independently, then this part here is important, because understanding the public transport system of the Maldives is the easiest way to cut costs and make your journey here more enjoyable. How can I travel between the Maldivian islands? What sort of transportation should I use in the Maldives? First off, as you arrive in Male, the capital city, the simplest way to get around is by bus. Tickets can be bought on the spot, even with a foreign credit card.
Thank you guys.
And it really is quite convenient.
Instead of a 20 euro taxi ride, we got ourselves 2 bus tickets for
€1 each.
one euro. Yeah, it's a very good deal and it was super easy.
However, most travelers, as you will soon understand, do not want to spend too much time in the capital. And so much more important is to master traveling between the islands. And to do so, there are 3 main options. The most expensive option here is of course flying, and the prices start at about $200 for like half an hour flight. I would recommend this option when you're doing long distances, like going from the north of Maldives to the south, or if you really hate traveling by sea. Because the second option is by far the most popular among tourists, and it is the speedboats. They usually cost between $25 and $50 depending on a route. And for times and bookings, there is an app that really is a blessing for all visitors, because understanding this system by yourself is almost impossible. And I will definitely leave a link to this app in the description of that video. And finally, there are public ferries, which by far were my favorite mode of transportation. Tickets for those journeys can be purchased in the ports and ferry terminals.
And that's the place where you see tourists with big backpacks, just like us, not with fancy bag and suitcases.
The prices range between $1.50 and $5 per person.
And their ferry has arrived.
And if you're not in a hurry, it was actually very nice to cruise from one island to another.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, and when traveling around the Maldives, you should always remember that being a Muslim country, Fridays here are considered the weekends, and so most ferries and speedboats will not operate. Well, I know that all of this information can be quite hard to take in all at once, but just remember that all of the topics that we talk about here today are also covered in our travel guide. So If you want more detailed information, then just go ahead and check out the description again. Yet having a different weekend is definitely not the only thing that comes together with Maldives being an Islamic country. And so next up, let's have a look at the positive and negative sides of what it actually means to visit a Muslim land. Is there a mandatory dress code that I need to follow in the Maldives? Where can I get a bottle of cold beer after a long day on the beach? But is this country safe for non-Muslims to visit alone? Yes, all of those questions are definitely relevant. Because the two main differences between the local islands and resorts are the dress code,
No bikini whatsoever.
and availability of alcoholic drinks. The dress code part is actually very easy. Maldives, like many other Islamic countries, does not have a mandatory dress code that everybody has to wear. So no, you do not have to cover your hair. Hijab is not mandatory. Just as long as you try to be respectful, it will be all good. On the contrary, to accommodate the visitors, on many small islands, the most beautiful beaches have been made into tourist or so-called bikini beaches, which means that over there you are free to wear whatever you wish. And the only thing the locals ask for in return is to respect their ways of life. And so in public places, you are expected to dress modestly. But honestly, in a tropical climate with a sun as hot as in the Maldives,
It's very hot. Very hot.
covering your shoulders can actually be a good idea, no matter your religion. When it comes to the alcohol though, the rules are way more strict, yet still simple. No drinking on any of the local islands. Wait, are you saying that I can't have one of those while I'm on a holiday? But again, to accommodate visitors, there are ways around it. For example, near bigger islands like Mafushi and Tulastu, there are the so-called booze boats, meaning that you can take a water taxi for about $10 onto a boat. And on such booze boats, of course, alcohol is served. However, other than those two rules, visiting the religious local islands, it's actually a truly fulfilling experience. You get to learn about their unique culture up close, taste their delicious, dominantly seafood-based cuisine, and if you haven't been to a Muslim land before, then most probably you will be shocked by their welcoming nature and hospitality. The only thing here that I can really recommend is to keep an open and curious mind, and soon you will understand that Islam, like many other Greek religions in the world, is a faith of peace and love, which is also proved by an extremely low crime rate in a whole country. Well, but now that we understand the local life and culture a little bit better, I guess it's finally the time that we have a closer look at hotels and accommodations in the Maldives. How much do the hotels on the local islands actually cost? What is the best place to book my accommodation from? And of course, how's the quality of hotels on the local islands? Yeah, price-wise, this point here is literally what determines the whole cost of your vacation. Because the resorts usually cost thousands of dollars a night, when at the same time, on a local island, hotels and guest houses can be found anywhere between $30 and $100 per night. However, for us, this part of the trip was without question the biggest surprise we encountered.
Ah, that looks so beautiful, so cozy.
For many times we rented rooms for less than $50 a night, and every time we were shocked.
I think our accommodation is a little bit different this time. It's like a small house, like a small bungalow with a lot of windows.
You see, most of the people who actually run those small guest houses and hotels, they used to work in the high-end resorts before the country opened its borders about 15 years ago. Yet now that they run their own small businesses, a funny thing happened. Nobody really told them that this sort of service is only expected from the high-end resorts. And yeah, for a very low price, an excellent service can be found in the Maldives.
Oh wow!
Somebody else always took care of our luggage. The welcome in all 9 different hotels always included a refreshing drink and a chilled towel. Yeah, as I said, we were not prepared for a service like this.
I'm used to living in the car. Thank you, I'm not used to this.
But this standard of service can also be seen on booking sites, where the average scores for those hotels are often at least 9 out of 10. Every detail was thought through, and although on average in the Maldives we ended up spending about $50 per person per day, then until today we can't believe the quality of service we got at this price point. And for reserving the actual accommodation, we exclusively used Booking.com. It just seemed like the best option available, like all the small guest houses were listed up there, and also the prices on Booking were very good. And if you visit the country between May and October in off-season, then you can book your stays just a few days before going. Yet during high season, I would recommend booking your stays at least a month or two in advance. And the final tip about accommodation that I want to share with you is not to book all of your nights in the same place. Try at least 2 or 3 different places and different islands, and this also goes for resorts. Because all of the islands really are different and offer various opportunities. Yet much more about this in a coming topic of itinerary. However, before that, there is one more topic that we just need to address. What are the best things that you can actually do in the Maldives? And where do you recommend to buy my tours from? To everyone's surprise, when it comes to tours and activities, then in the resorts, you can find exactly the same things that are available on the local islands. And most commonly, they include things like this. Day trips to smaller islands, wildlife tours full of incredible creatures, and of course diving and snorkeling around the beautiful coral reefs, which in my mind, after visiting more than 60 countries, are the most beautiful I have ever seen. I'm not joking when I say that even my lifelong fear of the open ocean could not keep me from diving into this water. And boy oh boy, am I glad that I actually did. The biggest difference here is actually the fact that if you buy the tours from local islands, they're simply many times cheaper compared to the resorts. And when it comes to like the land activities on the Maldives, then I would say that most of the islands here actually feel quite similar. They have laid-back atmosphere, many options for eating out, and of course a few shops that usually sell souvenirs and cold drinks, which of course, as we all know, are the stuff necessary for a calm tropical holiday. But as always, I've left the best for last, and so the last topic of today's video is this. What are the best islands to stay at? I want to share with you our own itinerary, more accurate descriptions of the many individual islands, and show you how we use the same tips we just learned to make our own journey in the Maldives as incredible as possible. Like most visitors, we started our journey in the capital city Male. It's by far the biggest population center of the Maldives, and thus a good place to experience the modern Maldivian culture with its colorful markets, holy mosques, and beautiful museums. But I'll be honest with you, we ended up spending 3 nights and 4 days in Male, and it was a little bit too much because it's the only big city of the Maldives, and it just doesn't have the island tropical paradise feel to it. You know, the thing that most visitors actually come to this country for.
80% of the time when you're walking in Male, it's between high buildings like this. It definitely is not what I expected before coming here.
And so after 1 or 2 days in Male, I would recommend to quickly move on from the capital. To get to our next big stop, we used public ferry.
2 tickets were $3, so $1.50 per person.
And an hour or so later, we found ourselves on Mafushi. I'm not gonna lie, This island really isn't the prettiest on the first look, and it definitely isn't known for its beaches. However, in our experience, it is the best place for tours and activities. We spent 5 days here trying out water sports, island hopping, and of course diving. Compared to the resorts, the tours here can be 5 times cheaper.
Such a great value for money. Like, I would not have believed that $50 can get you this in Maldives.
Yeah, this is the best $50 I've ever spent.
And by far, our favorite tour operator was called the Shadow Palm. With affordable prices, good service, and awesome crew, they really did offer the full package.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That was amazing. Amazing.
Glad you enjoyed.
We also left Mafushi in quite an interesting way, and instead of using public transport, we used a whale shark tour that first gave us an experience of a lifetime. And then our crew dropped us off on the next island. Once we arrived on Tigura, we felt for the first time that we had arrived in an island paradise. Clean and beautiful water, many palm trees, and absolutely stunning scenery. Thanks to its long and stretched out shape, this island had more room to walk around. And here it was also quite easy to find a private beach. That sort of made us feel like we were the last 2 people left on the face of the earth. So yeah, for a relaxing beach holiday, you should definitely mark down Tigura on your map. And altogether, we ended up visiting 9 different islands in the Maldives. Most of them had laid-back vibe and kind local population, making them quite perfect for a few days of relaxing. However, the last place I would individually like to point out in this video is called Omadho. We ended up there more or less by accident, but to our amazement, it quickly became our favorite island of them all. It had stunning coral reef surrounding its shores from all sides. The beaches here were calm and pretty. And every night we would walk around the island,
Welcome to paradise.
admiring the interesting symbiosis between the locals and the rich marine life.
I can do this all night.
It was the kind of place that you just can't have enough of. I guess it was right there on Omadho when we finally realized that although many things in this country were a lot different from what we expected, but still, in the most literal meaning of this word, Maldives really is a tropical island paradise. Yet to us, the beauty of the Maldives no longer means the over-the-top luxury hidden away on many of the private islands. But now, more than ever before, we understand that the beauty of this land is actually hidden in its nature, its kind and welcoming people, and of course in its truly unique culture that can only be experienced on the local islands. Friends, I can't believe that we've made it to the last stretch of the video, and once again I have to add that if you would like to have more detailed descriptions of the islands, they can again be found in our travel guide that I will link in the description of this video. Because when it comes to the video at hand, I must say I'm impressed at how many topics we were able to cover in such short time. I really hope that now, after watching this, you have much better understanding of how it actually looks like to travel Maldives independently. And of course, as the very last thing, if there is any big topics or any big questions that I still forgot to answer, just leave them in a comment section below. In my own time, I will try to answer you, and yeah, I think that's it. Friends, thank you so much for watching. If you crave more information about the Maldives, make sure to check out this playlist next. And I will see you next Thursday in a little bit less than a week. Take care and bye.